Hope everybody is doing fantastic. It is Self-Care Awareness Month. And normally I would be on a Monday, but I was away yesterday. So thank you for those of you who are joining me today. If you are joining me and you happen to do a little bit of self-care, I would like to invite everybody today to share your self-care tips. And some of you have a routine, some of you have a favorite tool. Towards the end of my little spiel here, I'm going to show you a couple of very, very simple ways that you can start dedicating some time to your self-care. Self-care means something different to everyone. And as far as the Awareness Day, the official celebration of September, September is Self-Care Awareness Month. And International Self-Care, the theme this year is resilience, adaptability, thriving in adversity. So it's a call to action worldwide to develop resilience, which can assist you in managing your stress, coping with negative energy, emotions, maybe maintaining physical and mental health if you struggle. I think we all struggle to a degree, and a lot of times where the physical gets into trouble is we're not paying attention to the mental. So there really is a yin and a yang, a balancing act between our mental and our physical health. Sometimes we spend a lot of time invested too much in one and not the other. And, like many of my sessions, I want to encourage you guys to be realistic, keep it simple. If you're not investing in self-care time, I'm going to redefine that and just let's call it a little bit of you time where you just, put up those walls and whatever stresses or challenges may be in your day, even if it's just a minute or two, to just shut things out. How can you celebrate Self-Care Awareness Month? Well, that's kind of what I'm rolling into is, make sure that you're investing or at least being mindful and taking steps towards mental and physical health improvements. You may be a gym goer now, but if you find yourself, up all night with worry and you're not getting sleep, you're kind of you're having counter effects on all that activity and all that good nutrition and all these things that we're trying to do to improve our physical body. Sometimes we're not paying attention to the mental health. Sometimes we're spending too much time, or maybe we're in an environment where that mental health is continually being tested, let's say, or maybe it's just life and how yours is. You get so distracted with the mental stress and the worry, or maybe you're in a mental job, that sometimes we let the physical slide. So regardless of where you are lacking, I think we can all identify individually and just be very honest and very realistic with ourselves about, if it's 2 minutes a day, if it's 5 minutes a day, I'm still going to have many people that say, I have no time at all. If you have no time at all, and you're joining me today, certainly on the VIP page, you obviously own some type of self-care tool already. Self-care tool can be a treadmill. It can be a massage gun. Take 5 minutes and do nothing, or do something with some of these tools that you have. Do something that's going to make you feel good about yourself. Read, maybe listen to a song or two that get you going. Get moving, massage yourself. Use your gun or your foot massager. Watch a video, maybe a video of your kids scoring a goal at the soccer game on the weekend. Text a friend that tends to perk you up. Be mindful first and foremost. So just, if you're not spending a lot of time invested in your time and there's nothing left at the end of the day after you serve everyone else, just try and be present, whether it's in the time that you are spending for yourself, or whether you're having a point in your day where everything's coming at you and there's triggers everywhere. Try to find a breathing or incorporate perhaps some very simple meditation exercises where you can block those bad vibes when you feel them coming your way. A lot of my sessions, I talk about the tools and how to use them on the go. And, if you've got tools that you take with you to work and you've got a busy day, maybe it's just 2 to 3 minutes, massaging the legs because they tend to keep you up at night. Or if you've got neck tension, or maybe you've got grip strength or arthritic hands, just hang on to your massage gun. Maybe it's a couple 3 minutes on your plate. Maybe it's using your new PEMF mat while you're sitting and writing that essay for school. There's always a way to make time for self-care. I think that being mindful of it and just committing to, even if it's 2 to 3 minutes a day. We're going to fast forward a little bit, outside of some of the things that you can do physically and mentally. Of course, please make sure that you're, offering nutritious food and fuel for the mind and the body, and that you're eating enough. A lot of times we live in a society where we're so busy, we're either consuming empty calories if we are. There's a lot of quick fixes, but it's easy to fall into that. As we change in life and get older, sometimes those needs change as well. So maybe it's being a little bit mindful on the food piece and just complementing some of these other changes that you're trying to incorporate. So for me, there's 3 C's. Commit to consistent care. Just like in all my vibration machine sessions where consistency is the key, I want you to commit to consistent care, be it mental, be it physical, be it a combination of both, be it, just working on some breathing exercises and developing some techniques to manage those hurdles that get thrown at you like fastballs throughout the day. And in my world, consistent doesn't mean that you have to commit a huge amount of time. A lot of times I think people ask me for a routine or a protocol because they just don't have the time, to draw from experience because we're not doing it now. But it's not easy to go to the gym and commit time to a trainer or invest time in an online course. And I want to support you. There's lots of tools out there, but the biggest win in getting into the consistency piece is keeping it simple. So don't be looking for a big, self-care routine or a big self-care workout. Pick 1 or 2 things that you do already that you should just be doing more often and start there. No excuses. It's just a matter of forming realistic habits because a little can go a long way. So back to that 2 to 3 minutes, it's just a matter of getting into the habit of giving yourself that time, letting your body and mind know that it's coming throughout the course of the day, and be mindful of making the space when you are in it. And like I said, if you have absolutely no time, because I always get that too, just try and incorporate it where you can throughout your day. So I want to make sure that you can all see and hear. I know that I'm showing up on Facebook. I know it was a weekend. It was a nice one here. It wasn't a long weekend, but it sure seemed like I had a busier one than I normally would. I had some family things going down. I had yard work to do. And by last night, I was so wired and so stressed, and my to-do list was still so long. I was stressing out just looking at the to-do list. I am the worst offender for investing time in my self-care. And part of the reason I look so forward to these sessions is not only do they make you mindful and remind you of some of the things, but it puts the trainer on check too. Sometimes the only self-care I do throughout the course of a day is a session with you. So today I have my 2 favorite self-care, well, 3, I always have 3 self-care tools. As you can see behind me, I've got a vibration plate, as always, because it's the most versatile, everything from exercise to self-care to whatever you need it to be. My new fave, and I'm going to say my new fave because I've got so much choice and Life Pro has so much variety. Sometimes my needs change or maybe your health situation changes, and sometimes my life changes. So we're in that time of year where even though it's nice, it's risk of frost at night and it's chilly, and I'm really enjoying my infrared heat therapies. I've developed quite the sciatic situation over the summer because I'm not doing my self-care, and I'm really been using a lot. I've been using the full mat in bed for a little bit, but throughout the course of the day when I feel that hip, that sciatic issue, and I'm in the middle of being in front of my computer way more than I should be, I'm really enjoying the mini mat. I am, as I get older, developing some kinks and some cricks and what I would probably call more than anything fatigue. And when my hands get fatigued or my body gets fatigued, it really affects my mental function and capacity. So I wanted to share a couple of ways that I not only incorporate my self-care, but in a very, very short time frame. One of the big things that many of you are going to come back to me and say is, well, I can't do this because I'm too busy. Thank you, Dolores, for letting me know. And Dolores is the new owner of a PEMF full-size mat, and I think you've had it about 2 weeks now. Very, very versatile tool, and I really enjoy it for those that are way stressed, way below baseline. The last thing you want to do is hit the gym or even your vibration plate. You just want to do nothing. So the PEMF and the blankets, anything infrared and the red light where you can just sort of set it and forget it is a really good way to incorporate self-care into your very busy day. Perhaps it's not so much a busy day, but maybe you are dealing with medical concerns and you have absolutely no energy and you're in pain all the time. So what self-care, as I said, looks like for everybody is going to be a little bit different. I want to show you a couple of my ways when I'm like really at the end of my boundaries and the boundaries are getting gray and fuzzy. First of all, my daughter helping me today. I know this looks backward on my end. Sometimes it does on yours. I apologize. But consistency is key. So let me show you an example of how hard self-care has to be. If you need padding, I'm going to sit on the vibration plate. I'm not even going to stand on it today. We're going to do some sitting. But if you have less padding than I do, or you have sensitive issues, you've got lumps or bruises, use your mat that comes with your machine. If you have a model where a mat was not provided, a nice 3/4 inch, half thick 3/4 inch yoga mat and a pair of scissors will get you about 5 or 6 mats. And sometimes you want to layer them up depending on what body parts you're putting on. Sometimes you want to kneel on the ground and you need a little padding there. So I'm sitting on the machine. The controls are between my legs because I am very long in the legs and the torso, and I have a tendency to sit on the machine. So Deb, self-care tip number 1. Last night when I got home from a funeral and things didn't sort of kick in until after the fact, and I'm strolling down memory lane, and I was very sad last night, and normally my instinct would be to go work out and get pissed off and do things like that, but I had other things to do. And I hadn't seen my daughter a lot that day. So while she was sitting on the couch, I just sat on my machine. I've got the mini in the house. And I watched about 10, 15 minutes of a movie she's been looking forward to. And by the time I was done, I was way less pissed off. I don't tend to sit here for just 10 minutes. I tend to incorporate some stretches. So one of the things I like to do, because I did do too much sitting and I wore high-heeled shoes that I probably shouldn't have on the weekend, is just lean forward. Focus on your breathing. You're going to feel a nice stretch under the back of the legs all the way down. If you want to straighten your legs and pull your toes towards you, you're going to get even a little bit more of a stretch. You probably can't see my toes quite, so I'm going to bring this down. Okay. Even though I ran 10 to 15 minutes last night, 1 to 2 minutes at the beginning of, at the end of, throughout the course of your day, this is a great way to just meditate. Focus on breathing. I like to sit here and just sort of breathe in nice, big, deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. In with the good vibes, out with the bad vibes. And if you want to put names to certain things that are in your day, in with the bad blank, out with the, I say in with the bad poop, out with the bad poop. Just something that's going to, you can use not only when you're on your machine, but throughout the course of your day, when you need that mental check and you're just having a little trouble establishing those mental boundaries. Might be a physical situation, you're overdoing it, you're carrying too many groceries. Be mindful if you're pushing yourself too much in the physical or the mental realm. Take a step back and take a breather. Another way that you can incorporate just some good breathing exercises for those of you that are my yogis or my Pilates gals out there. If range of motion allows, I love to bring my feet up on the plate, touching them together. I'm probably not doing this with the exact technique as I would if I had good yoga training. But I want to make sure that we've got a nice straight core. We're focusing on that breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Nice stretch on the inner groin. I like to do these types of stretches not only for my sciatic issues, but because my sciatic issues are directly related to my bad knee issues. Usually my knee could use a little bit of attention. So this is just one way that I like to do it. From here, my next little favorite stretch is like a figure four. I take this leg, I cross it above the knee on the opposite leg. Depending on how flexible you are, you may need to keep this leg straight. I like to bring this foot flat and good posture. I don't want you slouched over. I want you sitting nice and tall. And you should start feeling a stretch already in the glute. This is the basic start of a glute stretch, but I put a little twist on it. My chiro showed me this. Good old Dr. Dino. If you put your hand on this knee, keeping good posture, focusing on that breathing, and press on that knee, you're going to feel that sciatic. Woo! I feel it. I should be doing this every time that it gives me grief throughout the course of the day, but I'm not. So see, I'm doing my self-care with you right now because I got to show you how to do it. And even though my sciatic is primarily firing up on this side, you got to do both sides because this one's doing all the work. And you're always going to have one side that can stretch a little better than another. Do this in intervals of 3 to 5 seconds. You can do this one seated in a chair. Again, we're breathing in through the mouth, out through the nose. We're holding good posture, paying attention to that diaphragm, trying to use it to push that breath out. Simple little things. 1 to 2 minutes. I challenge you. Okay? So last night, after I did my PEMF, I was still really sore. And I was really sore because I had been overcarrying and doing things with my hands. So I took out my massage gun. And instead of beating myself up, what I really enjoyed using my massage gun for is just to get circulation going in my hands. I crank it up to a mid-speed. Just going to do a little bit of tipping here with a massage gun. I always do this. I'm never going to recap, and then I end up recapping. For those of you just starting with a massage gun, if you lack grip strength, if you lack range of motion, you have swelling, chronic joint issues, the best way to start using a massage gun is just by hanging on to it. Crank it up to a mid, even a higher speed. Depending on the model you have, the grips all feel a little bit differently. But for a lot of my seniors that dream of using these, they can't because they can't hang on to the darn things, let alone maneuver them around their body and help themselves. So just by hanging on to it, sitting in a chair, laying it on your lap and hanging on to it, just by your grip, holding and resisting the vibration that this gun is kicking out, you're going to improve not only your grip strength, but you're going to help with the swelling. You're going to help manage the pain. You're going to improve the lymph and the circulation flow. So, sometimes you're looking at the manual for the move when really the starting point is just hanging on to the gun. Okay. So while I was on the machine last night, yes, I ramped it up, and I don't really use a mat when I'm on the machine. I'm always using a mid to a higher speed range when I'm doing my massage. So I kind of leaned over, cranked my gun up, and I just put one hand on the ground while I'm shaking, and I go up and down. Completely a tolerance thing. I prefer to crank up the speed and just skim the surface. You can apply more pressure. It really depends on your own sensitivity. For those of you that are chronic to bruising, you deal with lymphomas, you're sensitive to touch, you can use a massage gun, but you don't need to apply pressure. Just skim the surface of the skin until you develop some tolerance, okay? And a lot of mine goes up through the knee, so I even move into the back of my knee, down the side. Lots of ways that you can incorporate your tools, okay? I am the worst person for saying, I have no time. So Self-Care Awareness Month is all about making you time. And like I say, 2 to 3 minutes goes a very, very long way. I don't have this heated up right now, but I did want to sort of show you on camera. Usually what I do whether I'm using the seated or the full mat, again, my sciatic's really bad kind of on the underside, and I've got some tension developing here. So what I did last night when I got into bed, I had this warmed up, and I sat on it just to get the heat going for me a little bit, and then I continued for about another 5 minutes with the gun before I laid down and went to bed. I did sleep on it last night. Probably wasn't the best idea because I'm menopausal, and I'm having flashes intermittently. So I did take it off partway through the night. But for me, I sleep on a fairly firm mattress to begin with. And I find it fairly comfortable. It's not everybody's cup of tea to sleep on. If you have a dedicated space to lay your PEMF mats on, probably the best case scenario. Today, I've got mine displayed on a camp mat, which is a really good option. I use this for both the full mat or if I'm using the infradome sauna. So that's a couple of my other little tricks that I did last night. Again, my visual aids. Consistency is key. Commit to consistent care. So again, Self-Care Awareness Month. One of my groups is really good about self-care. I deal with a lot of lymphedema, lipedema, disorders related to that. And, one of the best ways to just start feeling better about yourself mentally and physically is to just get moving. Whether it's just standing on your vibration plate, taking a walk around the house, if you've been sitting stagnant, a lot of times when we're inactive, the mental, declines as well. So the biggest message, again, I want to get across today is just to be mindful. Try and find that 2 to 3 minutes a day, invest in yourself. I know it's not realistic to necessarily take an hour, and many of you that have gotten your self-care down to a routine will attest that it doesn't need to take half an hour to an hour. If you're dealing with chronic conditions, it's often more about being consistent and using your Life Pro therapies more frequently to keep those symptoms away. If it's mental stress, you always feel better once you get moving, or you relieve some pain. Sometimes the mental stress might be pain related, might be a painful job, but be mindful of it and incorporate that breathing or some whatever exercises you should be doing. Sometimes it's just a matter of committing back to that habit and working towards committing to that you time, regardless of what you're doing during that 2 to 3 minute. And again, for those of you that have got more time and have gotten into a routine, I think you can attest to the fact that a little goes a long way. The downside of self-care is the first part of the word, self. Many people in my groups struggle without a diagnosis. Some never get a diagnosis, but you don't need to wait to take care of yourself. And even if you did have a diagnosis or you knew what was going on, that doesn't mean that someone's going to do the work for you. So self-care is about you taking care of yourself. And if you're a mom and you're caring for other people, perhaps you're a care provider, perhaps you're a busy dad that's raising 8 children. There's many people that are caring for others, and we tend to leave ourselves to the end of that day. You're no good to anybody else if you're going to be sick and run down and unable to support those who rely around you. So if you're not doing it for yourself, do it for someone else. And like I say, the basic things: give your body that nutritious fuel that it needs to get through your day. Try to get adequate rest, as hard as it is. If you're dealing with restless leg or you got lots of stress, maybe it's a matter of using some of your therapies before you go to bed to help you sleep. Experiment and know that if something that used to work isn't working anymore, sometimes your situation changes and you need to try things again. I was out in the yard just before I came, and one of my most favorite things, especially this time of year, for my mental is just mint. Mint, essential oils. There's other things that you can add. If your routine's gotten stagnant or you think you're really good about your self-care and that stress is starting to creep back in, take advantage of what Mother Nature provides as well. I've always got essential oils going in the house, but this time of year, there's nothing better than fresh. I had a big whiff of this just before I come in on my session. I probably didn't make me ramble less, but mint is known to be associated, especially peppermint, with mental clarity, mental capacity, those types of things. So if physically you are in a poor state of health, it doesn't always mean that you need to, like I say, get on that treadmill or that vibration machine. If you're joining me out of the VIP group today, you certainly have therapies now. You did the research on them. If anything, I hope to give you a little motivation to get back into you and invest that 2 to 3 minutes a day, even just as a starting point. Self-care, be aware, doesn't need to be a huge time commitment. So I hope that has given some of you some insight. For those of you that are joining me, I see there's a few of you there. If you have any questions, I'm always open to questions, but if you have your own self-care routine or some tips that you think others may benefit from, whether you're seeing this live with me now or you see this later, please feel free to share. Sometimes, it's just a matter of, oh, I forgot about that. Or, oh yeah, I used to do that and I should try that again. Sometimes the great part about sharing is, it's something that you knew or you maybe tried in the past and, just forgot about it, or it's a new idea that you haven't tried. There is no one path to better self-care. There's no one way to win the race to better health. So try new things, experiment with what others have told you. If you're dealing with any sensitivities or health issues, of course, always check with your doctor before you try any new treatments or therapies. But do your own homework too. Sometimes, not every person knows everything. I'm having one of those weeks where a lot of people using Life Pro devices actually have more experience than some of their care providers. Lots of questions about, can I use this or can I use that? And sometimes they sound more like you're looking for permission or forgiveness for using versus permission. But do your homework and know that there is never one definitive answer. Research is always evolving. Experience is always evolving. And the combination of using these therapies together is always evolving. So be optimistic, stay consistent, and remember the 3 C's to self-care. Commit to consistent care. Keep it simple, and you'll be more successful in the long run. Thank you guys for joining me today. See, you're all smart. Everybody's got no questions for Debby. If you are watching this after the fact and you did have a question for Debby, please always feel free to tag me at Debby with a Y. If you're looking at buying some Self-Pro gear, feel free to always check things out through my link. If you have any questions related to any of Life Pro's therapies, always ask me. I'm happy to answer any questions. I usually try to have the answer, but if I don't, I certainly do know how to research and find the answers for you. Like I say, research is always evolving. Many of the therapies that Life Pro offers have been out long before they were even on the radar here. I'm proud of many of you. I see more and more of you incorporating your therapies for self-care, combining them, paying attention to how you feel. As I said, we're all unique in how our bodies react to these therapies, what benefits we receive, at what rate. So pay attention to those things, be mindful. And for the rest of September, we got a couple weeks here left. What do they say? It takes 21 days to make or break a habit. Maybe I challenge you to commit to some self-care and see if you can find that 2 to 3 minutes a day that you deserve. Thank you for joining me, guys. I will see you next Monday. Don't work too hard and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for joining me. Hello, JC, Ann, and Dolores. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and making comment. Have a great rest of your week.